John has given his apologies, so that's why I'm chairing this one. Reminded by the Chair of the Council's expectations for the audio or visual recording of this meeting. Parish Council may be audio recorded under the openness of local government regulations, devices have to be placed on the table provided throughout the meeting. So we've got strong recording and we've got Parish Council audio as well. So item 2, to receive apologies for absence given in advance of the meeting. We've just got John.
We've got John that's ill. Sharon hasn't given apologies, but I noticed in the last meeting that she's on annual leave, so I think she's just got the dates. And obviously Councillor Cook has just left.
Yes. Okay. Do we approve? Consider approval on readings given, so we approve those?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that okay? Yeah. Item 3, declarations of interest and dispensations. To receive any declarations of interest not already declared under the Council's Code of Conduct or under the Register of Disposal of Pecuniary Interests. On items on the agenda, 3.2 would be to receive, consider and decide on any written application for dispensation for disposal of pecuniary interest, and 3.3 to grant any requests for dispensation as appropriate. Have we had it?
None to the office.
No. And if anything comes up and people that just let us know, we can address that. Okay, so item 4 then is again these minutes are in packs. So to note the minutes of the Village Amenities Committee meeting held on the 27th of November 2023, and again these have already been approved by full council, that's why we're noting them. Is there anything further on that from council members?
No.
No? Excellent, thank you. Item 5, to receive information on the following ongoing matters arising the clerk's updates. We've got 5.1, the nature is needs Wakefield initiative. Contact WMDC has changed locations previously agreed by the council, by Ackworth Parish Council are currently being reviewed by Wakefield.
That's it?
Oh, no. And that's it? Oh, right, that's literally just the,
Yeah.
just 5.1.
I've been chasing a few updates, so we'll have some more in the next meeting, but that's the only one that's come back.
Okay. Thank you. Please read out your
It's fine. It's my job.
Item 6 then. To receive the latest independent playground inspection report and decide action where appropriate for recommendation. And again, this was in the pack, and I'm thankful to say that our equipment seems to be in good order, but there are a few things that were identified from within the report. Is there any further information on this, John?
Just what's in the pack.
Just what's in the pack?
Yeah. Probably Mr. Bolton, sorry.
About
Yeah.
teen shelter, because residents, family, residents local to me, as it was mentioned, their family needs this, and it's some of these poles are not secured well, and the whole thing is able to be moved.
Which one are you answering, Susan?
The light
It's
main teen shelter.
Team
very
shelter,
first
the
one.
very first one.
Too far in the back, that's what the issues.
When Andy and I did go and have a look at it, and it is wobbly.
Yes.
So the inspector has I suppose a matrix, if you want to call it, that has to check it against, and that's what they've deemed it to be, low risk.
I do know what you mean though, in terms of what I know when I've been down there, it's only the base, and that base just sits on top of the grass essentially, like the picture suggests. So, and I do know that they used to make like more panels around it and to try and deal with the antisocial aspects. Some of those have been moved, so maybe that has had a different effect.
Well, possibly it would give it more structure, wouldn't it? But I think also some of the ground bolting is not great. Anyway, it does seem to have a lot of movement in it. So I was quite surprised that
It passed the inspection.
yeah.
I mean, they have noted that it's worn.
Although that was more the surface.
That's the surface
condition,
Yeah.
It said no defects found.
I mean, the only option would be, obviously this has come from the independent expert, is to pull that out as a separate item for separate review.
Yes.
Additionally, if that's a proposal that you wanted to make.
I think that's it. Maybe if we have that at a future meeting, you know, to like look at it, maybe it might mean, councils can visit any point anyway, so, but
Well, I know,
if we review it,
I know a few times it's been suggested having a walk around the village as
yes.
as councillors, so if that is going to be coming up, but that's a possibility, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So to pull out the teen shelter as an area for review.
Yes.
I mean, unfortunately, some of the ribble may have been caused by enthusiastic teens.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Yeah. Could I just suggest on page 2 that is it possible, just looking at the fire damage to the fence, I do think it's important to keep places looking good, and once they start to look shabby, you know, it just escalates, doesn't it? Is it possible for our staff to rub down and paint that section of fence there where there's fire damage?
We can certainly have a look at it.
So you spray it actually.
I think, yeah, looking at it,
It's
I
all
know
just-
that it's a spray glove.
Yeah,
We can certainly pull that out to have a look what we could do as for the aesthetics.
yeah.
I think the seesaw kind of is similar to your comments about the teen shelter. Sorry, I'm on page 3, just
Yeah.
so everyone knows off the page 3. It's about foundation, so I think that would require, and with it being in red as well, and that was listed as part of the order, I think that definitely, although they have still listed it as low risk.
Yeah. Satisfactory, but yeah.
Yeah,
It'll just get worse, can't it, if it's not?
yes. I definitely think with that being a condition,
It just requires attention, so.
and then we've got a similar with the group swing as well. I think essentially, when I've seen the report, I definitely think some of the things that are listed in red, which basically seems to be, I know in the past as well, that it just says some of these things have already been resolved, but those that aren't yet resolved, I think if our caretaking staff could have a look at that, and we can bring this to the next meeting, and I think in principle, where it's been listed and needing action, I think, could we prove that if it's like a small cost as such, that we can, if the caretaking staff can deal with it there and then, it's just sort of dealt with. So like if it's a spray can job, it's sprayed up.
So general maintenance that falls under the competency of the caretaker role, correct that?
Yeah.
Anything that either doesn't fall under the caretaker role or is going to be of a cost, bring that to
Yes.
council.
Yeah,
Would that be okay with everyone?
yeah, fine with me.
Yes, because
Yeah.
presumably Sutcliffe will have a way of maintaining that appropriately.
Yes.
But, yeah,
That's what they do, isn't it?
or we'll be able to recommend a supplier that will.
Yeah. Are there any... So I think in general we've got a little bit... Do you want to propose in a second?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. So I can propose that as chair, but where we can, as we've just listed, in terms of general maintenance, where we can, to get these things fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously things that are going to be more considerable, they'll come back to us and we can review those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Seconded by Sarah.
Yeah.
And I'll take a vote, just so we're all in favour.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think in general, if there's any other things that strike that come forward from this inspection, if we just let the office know and we can get them listed in future meetings and that sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to item 7. To review correspondence from a resident regarding the consideration to protect village pub buildings and car parks with consideration of buildings being listed as community assets and decide action where appropriate.
Mine's been stable and correctly, so just in case yours is the same. Oh, it's not. My 7's before the 6.
I know some reflects.
Selling myself in saying it.
So you gave us a paper, didn't you, Gemma, on that?
Yeah.
To,
We've got the correspondence in our.
yeah.
This is one that came from full council.
Yeah, I remember it from that.
So when it's, can I just ask on this?
Of course.
When it
Yeah.
says on this paper that you've given us, Gemma, it says the localism Act, voluntary community organisations can nominate an asset to add to a list of assets of community value. This list is managed by us. So it's us, Wakefield Council.
Yes.
Right, okay, so it comes from the legal department, doesn't it? Legal and governance.
That's on their
Right,
website.
okay.
I just printed it off to help
Yeah.
support conversations.
Okay, okay. And so if anything is, so anybody presumably, well I don't know, I'm just presuming because it doesn't tell us here, who can nominate an asset, who can nominate something to be an asset of community value. Can an individual do it? Does it have to be a formal body that does it? Do we know?
It does say it's our voluntary and community organisations.
Right,
doesn't
okay,
it?
so it does. Okay. So I suppose the question for us is, following on from the letter that we had, the last of the full parish council meeting, isn't it? To decide whether we want to recommend to the full council that we put forward these properties as community assets. What it doesn't say actually on this paper is whether the asset that any group wants to nominate as a community asset has to be within their purview, as it were, because one of these things listed is at Rugby.
Which falls outside our parish.
Outside of those, yes.
That's combined parish authority. isn't it?
Yeah, and also the thing that I'd want to know is, do we have any obligations, any additional work, if we are the body that nominates assets to be on this list? Is anything required of us that would mean more work for, the staff of the council? Do we have to do anything, basically? Do we have to advertise it? Do we have to...
Well, it's not very clear, because it says if a landowner wants to sell a registered property, they must tell us. So it seems to me that you would have to be in contact with the person that owns it to say, we would like to do this for the community. How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Because I think the Masons, isn't that already listed anyway?
Don't know.
Not.
Bring that up, sorry, is the us is Wakefield Council, so I've literally printed that from Wakefield Council.
Yes, it's not very informative, is it?
So even
Sorry, that's nothing. So, it does say something.
No.
Sorry, Jen. I'm saying they haven't really given a lot of information.
But I think
No,
even if something's a listed building, it doesn't mean the owner can't sell it.
No,
it just
no,
means
it doesn't.
what the person who buys it will have constraints on what
Yes.
they can do with it. That's
Yes.
all it means.
Well, they wouldn't be able to knock it down, sort of.
I suppose,
It needs to fall down.
I suppose,
Yes,
we've got
they
to-
could.
I suppose, just to sort of like bring us back to the item on the agenda, I suppose we need more information from Wakefield, so if we could get more information for the next administrative meeting, some more specifics, because then that will help us in terms of guidance for whether we can put out, say, a Facebook post or something like that, getting suggestions from the community. And also it would be good to know what the specifics are, as Susie sort of like suggested in your comments, in terms of if something is nominated,
Who
owns it,
Mm.
we need to check with the people that do own it first of all. What does it do for them? What does it do for us?
Yeah.
I think we just need that information first to double check
Yeah.
on those things. I mean, it's not that I don't think the parish council is against any of them. If everyone's happy for all of them to be listed, that'd be fantastic. Obviously, I think we should make sure everyone's happy with it more than anything. Sarah.
Yeah, I think it was Lynn who said when we were discussing it last that the owners of these properties might not be too thrilled about them being made listed buildings because it puts lots of restrictions on an owner of a property, what they can do, what they can't do. She did mention that last time. So maybe as part of it, before anything goes out there, and the owners of these pubs are thinking, what the heck's going on here? Why haven't they asked us about it? Maybe around the same time we should communicate with the owners of the property owners and the landlords, who might not be the same people, what they...
Just to clarify, obviously it's not listing them as listed buildings in terms of how if the supposed information, it's community rights as estimated for assets or community value.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different. Just in there.
Oh, sorry.
Not staff, yeah.
Join us up with the audience now.
Pardon?
Control the audience.
It does say though on the last sentence in this email we all had before, wonder whether it might be worthwhile trying to get them onto listed building register for a form of protection. And again, we said in the previous meeting that anybody can apply to put anything onto the listed building.
Yes, I see where you're getting that from.
Yeah.
Although it does say if the group wants to buy the asset, they can trigger a six-month moratorium delay to give them a chance to raise the money. So is it more that if you would perhaps want it to become a community asset to protect it for the future in case it was a pub and got sold to be a
Block of flats.
a block of flats,
Yes.
Yeah.
and you might want to buy it for the community, that it would give you a chance to raise the money. That's more the point of it, rather than does it necessarily protect it, because it says the landowner can still sell it to who they please.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's two aspects, isn't there? Because the actual email from the resident obviously is talking about listing building as a form of protection, and then obviously the community asset that I'm guessing yourself, Jen, was provided. Obviously that's listed as a community asset, isn't it?
It would be, so it came from full council to explore it as being a community
I see.
asset. But I've included the original email from the residents, so you had all the information to hand tonight, rather than just trying to remember from the last meeting.
So there's almost like two aspects to look at, community asset and listed. So yeah, I think more information in terms of specifics on the community asset, if that's okay,
Yeah,
please.
and bring back to this committee.
And bring back to this committee. How do people feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
So that was your proposal, so is it second?
I'm proposing you second.
Yeah.
Okay, so itemised then, if I may. To receive maintenance update from the clerk on repairs required to the building at Brockenhill and decide action where appropriate for recommendation.
Yeah, so I've included a photo in the supporting pack. As you can see, we have some damage that's appearing to Bracken Hill. With the type of structure that it is, it's starting to rot away at the corner basically. We haven't spent any maintenance on this building year to date. That pot sits at £515 for the maintenance allowance for that particular building. I'm conscious that at a later date we'll probably need to bring Bracken Hill to the council for review as to what we're going to do with it moving forward to either generate some income or other options, because at the moment it's not being hired out. So it's a bit of a tough one really, which is why I wanted to bring it to this committee. I would like to use the 515 or up to the 515 to see if we can get a plate fabricated of some sort to maintain that corner so that it doesn't get any worse until it comes back to full council. Or something along those lines, as to put a repair in place, because as we can see the damage is becoming quite substantial, and if it gets left it's only going to get worse.
What is it actually made of, Jen?
I don't know the actual material, but the trim at the bottom is wood, I believe, and there's some form of a metal type, because that's a rust. So the caretakers have kind of said you could maybe get a specialist out to build a plate and pot weld it. Sorry, I got distracted there. Pot weld it, a repair in place.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I'd kind of be, if we're going to review its use in the not too distant future, I'm a bit reluctant to spend money on it at the moment actually. And I would like to suggest, given that it's taken a while to get to that state, that we defer on the